Hi Paula and all of Paula's people and the Philadelphia cream cheese people as well. Welcome to my kitchen. I call it the gathering place because that's where everyone gathers. The smells, the good food cooking, the wonderful tastes that come from my kitchen are something that my family and my friends have always enjoyed. I have enjoyed entering this Real Women of Philadelphia cream cheese contest. And the other thing is, Paula, I watch your shows all the time. You remind me of my mom and the way my mom cooked. And because my mom taught me to cook that way, with the best, finest ingredients, things like butter and cream and Philadelphia cream cheese. Unfortunately, over the years, I have put on quite a few extra pounds on this body. And this summer, I have my 50th class reunion from high school coming up. And so I did not want to go back to my reunion with all those excess pounds. So I joined Weight Watchers a few months ago. And so far I have lost 30 pounds. I hope to lose a few more before my reunion comes up. Not that I think I can look like I did when I was in high school, but I will feel better if I get this weight off and keep it off. So my challenge for this contest is to take recipes, perhaps from your show, Paula, perhaps from my mom's cookbook, other cookbooks that I have, and I convert them to becoming Weight Watcher friendly recipes. And that's what I've done with what I'm going to make for you today. This is an entree that's called Healthy Philly and Chicken Crescent Squares. It's a recipe that my mom had for many years. I've been making it just like my mom did. I think probably the recipe is at least 40 years old. We start out with using, of course, Philadelphia cream cheese. I am using the 1/3 less fat variety in my recipe today, but of course you can use the original regular cream cheese as well. I have 3 ounces of it in my pan and it's been softened. And I also have 2 tablespoons of margarine. Now my margarine also is light margarine, but you could use regular margarine as well. So I'm going to mix those 2 together. And to that I'm going to add 2 cups of cooked chicken. I have my cooked chicken kind of cut up in very small pieces here, almost shredded. And so I'll add that to the cream cheese mixture and continue to mix that. I'm kind of trying to do this so you can see how it's coming together in my bowl. One of my trials with this is the videotaping, and I haven't figured out how to be able to stop and start. So I have to do my whole thing in one take here. But I think it's going to work just fine. Okay, so we got our chicken mixed in. Now I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Actually, I'm just going to put a pinch of salt in here. Then I'm going to put 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. I like the freshly ground black pepper, and I'm just going to do a few twists of that. Then we also have to thin it out a little bit, and in my bowl here I have 2 tablespoons of milk. I've used skim milk, but you can use any, whole milk, 2%, whatever you have on hand works. Then we also need a little onion in here, and I have already chopped half of a small onion, and I'll put that in there. And also it calls for 1/4 cup of chopped pimento. I happen to be using the roasted sweet bell pepper that I found in the store. I really like it. The only thing about it is that because it's been roasted, there are some little black parts that end up being with the red peppers. I think you can see that there. I might just explain to my guests if they see any black in their food that this is just because the red peppers were roasted. So this mixes up very well, comes together very nicely. Now we take the Crescent rolls. I do use the Pillsbury Crescent rolls, and when you unroll the package, there would normally be 8 triangular shapes. You take 2 triangles and put them together, and you press out the seam so that it's just one piece of dough. And then you try and shape it so it's a little bit more square than rectangular. And then I'm going to just kind of peel this up from both sides so it doesn't stick to my table here. And then you would divide your cream cheese chicken mixture into 4 and put 1/4 of it into each of 4 crescent roll squares that you've made. Then you take the opposite points and bring them together, and then you bring the other opposite points together so that you kind of make a little bundle, sort of like a square. It becomes a square shape, and you're going to want to pinch all the edges together so that the cream cheese mixture stays inside and won't come melting out of it as it bakes. And so when you get done, you have kind of a little square bundle. If it's not exactly square, don't worry about it. It doesn't really need to be a perfect shape. You would do this to all 4 then, and put them on baking sheets and bake them at 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. And I already have a pan that I have made. I baked the other 3. This is the 4th. I'll have to bake it later. But I didn't want to take the time to put it in the oven and let it bake while I'm doing this. So you can take one of the crescent rolls squares off and put it on your plate. And then, to top it off, I like to make a gravy. And that is taking a can of Campbell's 98% fat-free cream of mushroom soup. To that I added a can of mushrooms as well as the juice. And then, because I had 3 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese that I used in this mixture, I divided the cream cheese in half, and then I figured out 3 ounces of that half. The other ounce I put in my gravy. And I have warmed that all up together so it's nice and smooth. And now I'm going to put the gravy on top of my crescent square. My granddaughters love this, but they don't like the gravy. They like it just the crescent square itself. There we go. And here is the finished product. Healthy Philly and chicken crescent squares. And of course, I think I better taste it for you. Excuse me while I get a fork here. This really is delicious. It smells so good. And let me put a bite in my mouth here, if I can get it on my fork. There we go. Absolutely delicious. Every time I make this, people ask me for the recipe, and I like it just as well with the reduced fat cream cheese and the reduced fat crescent rolls. I hope you will try my recipe. I hope you enjoy it too. Thanks so much for coming today. Bye-bye.